What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and it has been a crazy summer so far of travel, from Apple in Cupertino to Montreal for Formula One, London for Wimbledon, going to Germany with Mercedes to drive the concept car, and now we're in New York for a smartphone event before heading off to a Google campus tour, and maybe Italy next week. So if you've been following the channel for a while, you know I love to make what's in my bag videos, what's in my travel bag videos, to show you guys some of my favorite products. And so today, I'm going to be showing you guys a product that has made its way into my workflow and has been very handy when it comes to on-the-go productivity and editing, and that is the Arzopa portable 15.6-inch monitor, and I want to give a huge thanks to Arzopa for sponsoring this video. So traditionally, I don't really do a good job of editing on the go. I have a very specific setup at home with my large desktop computer, 2 Apple XDR displays, as well as the color grading panels, but I have to find a way to be able to edit on the go. And the new MacBooks with the Apple Silicon have been very impressive in terms of the speed, and I'm able to edit videos in 4K and 6K resolution while grading them. So with this Arzopa 15.6-inch monitor, I'm able to bring this on the go and have a secondary display to be able to work on, just like I have at home. But the reason why I've been hesitant over the years for secondary displays is for a few things. They're maybe a little bit cumbersome, the brightness wasn't enough, the image quality just wasn't very good, the color accuracy just wasn't there, and it wasn't until I tried out the Arzopa that I'm generally impressed in terms of what it is able to deliver at such a slim form factor, but at the same time it is such an easy and beautiful setup that is light to carry on the go. But this model in particular is also the gaming monitor, so it actually has a 144 Hz refresh rate, so you can connect a game console such as a PlayStation 5, maybe your Windows computer, and actually play games in a very enjoyable format, just like you would at home while you're on the go. I'm also going to be giving away one of these monitors to you guys, so just go ahead and drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below as to what you plan to use it for, and also leave your Instagram username because I'll be contacting the winner directly on Instagram in 1 month. So for starters, on the spec side of things, this is a 15.6-inch monitor, and whether you have a 13-inch MacBook Air, a 14-inch MacBook Pro, having a 15.6-inch monitor is able to give you an extended display that is not only able to serve as a mirror, but also just as a secondary screen, which is what I personally use. You can decide whether you want to bring a keyboard as well and a mouse, but in my case, I still use my MacBook screen as the primary, but having the secondary display for Wheels, for Notion, and for my to-do list is very important. On top of that, this display also has a 1080p Full HD resolution paired with a 100% sRGB coverage and a 178-degree IPS panel, which is very important because I have it angled in different ways, and versatility is one of the most important things when it comes to a portable monitor. It has a 1000:1 contrast ratio and a brightness of 300 nits, but just looking at the design at first, you can see that it is very easy to bring around with you. I absolutely love this carbon fiber panel that just surrounds this body, and you can see just how thin this whole Arzopa display is. It comes in at a thickness of just 0.3 inches and weighs in at 1.36 pounds. So taking this around with me to New York City when I'm attending meetings and going to different coffee shops in the different suburbs to be able to work has been an absolute joy. The portable setup has really changed in the past couple of years with that Apple Silicon, and having an accessory like this has been very impactful, and the most important thing when it comes to travel and portability and wanting to bring it is the value that it's able to provide without causing any additional strain to your workflow or being very cumbersome to bring around. So you can see this very slim form factor is protected by this nice carbon fiber magnetic case that you can actually fully detach, and the actual finish of the Arzopa display is also a nice carbon fiber one. By attaching it back to the monitor, you can then set it in a few different configurations. So in my case, I have it set in horizontal, so just go ahead and tilt it here. I can definitely adjust the angle quite easily, and if I want to have it vertically, it is also very easy to do so. You set the kickstand like this, and when it comes to connecting it to your computer, your gaming console, or your smartphone, it is just as simple. On one side, you're going to find 2 USB Type-C ports as well as an HDMI. For game consoles and many computers, HDMI is probably going to be the easiest option because in this case, my MacBook has a full-size HDMI, and it also includes the cable that you need. If you also want to connect it via USB Type-C, it has a fully functioning USB Type-C port, so you also have that option as well, and you can connect your smartphone to it via via USB Type-C. And I personally find that even though USB Type-C works very well, I like to have as many open ports as possible to be able to charge my MacBook while also connecting accessories and hard drives, especially when video editing. The other port is also for power. So this is actually able to run off of just a 0.5 amp power brick that is included, but you can also draw power from your computer, which is nice. So you don't have to actually have like a wall outlet nearby. You can use this setup and it actually doesn't drain that much power at all. I had it connected to my MacBook and I used it for a couple hours and it only drained maybe 20 to 30%, including the amount of power that the computer was consuming. I know that's going to be very subjective based on what videos you're watching, also the brightness that you have it set to. And speaking of brightness, you can actually adjust it through the toggle on the side here very easily. And there is also a power button and a 3.5mm headphone jack. The most important aspect though is the image quality and the brightness. Is this a monitor that is worth bringing around and does it provide real value to a workflow? And to be honest, as soon as I turned it on, I was pretty impressed in terms of the color rendition, but also the contrast ratio, and the brightness is respectable. But beginning with the color, it is 1000:1 contrast ratio and has 100% sRGB coverage, which for a portable monitor that is plug and play and this thin, I'd say is really good for a secondary display that you bring on the go. When it comes to my main video editing workflow, I still of course have the screen built into my MacBook, and this is obviously a really good display that is very bright. So I actually have like the main color grading window here, but when I color grade, I also have my color wheels and the histograms over to the side, and so I'm able to see the different graphs respectively, and as long as it is bright enough and it's able to display relatively nicely, I don't exactly have to use it as a referencing screen. What it's also very useful for is, for example, if you have like numbers on a screen, you want to be able to reference different notes. There are just so many uses for like students, for business people, anyone who wants to be able to enhance your productivity, because even though the resolution of my main MacBook screen is relatively high, I definitely need more space because that is just what I'm used to at home and what helps me work at the fastest speed possible. As for gaming, when it comes to plugging in the PS5, the 144Hz refresh rate is very important, and that especially comes in handy when it comes to gaming. Whether you're on a PC, the Mac is also able to run at that full refresh rate, but being able to play like sports games, which are relatively fast and you can really notice the differences, as well as first-person shooters, is impressive. And with a lot of portable displays out there, they are not actually a high refresh rate and instead are a standard 30 or 60 Hz. So at the price, having the 144 Hz is awesome. So the color representation aspect for a secondary display was really good, but the 170-degree IPS viewing angle is also great. I personally usually have it on an angle over to the left side, and so it's important that your display is not going to be like washed out as you tilt it around. And when it comes to bringing it out and about, I would say that the brightness of 300 nits is respectable, but you're definitely not going to be able to use it in direct sunlight. I was able to bring it outside, and even though it maybe wasn't as clear at 300 nits, because typically a display of like even 500 nits is not exactly bright enough for outdoor use. If you're in like a cafe or in the office, or you're just like sitting around at like your hotel room, it is going to perform very well. And it also has an anti-glare panel on the front here with very small bezels, so that also adds to the whole portability aspect. And as you can tell, I've really enjoyed my experience of being able to grade footage on this main display and also having my color wheels and windows over to the left side here. Another aspect that also adds to the multimedia is the dual speakers. And if you're connecting a game console such as a Nintendo Switch, a PlayStation, or like a desktop computer, then having built-in speakers is important. I obviously have speakers built into my laptop, so it isn't something that I use as often, but it can be really clutch when you don't have any other speaker option. What is also really nice about this setup, and especially if you're staying at a place for a week like myself, I like to have my desk setup all dialed in and maybe put my clothes in the closet as well, is you can actually connect multiple devices to this monitor. There have been a few like conferences that I've been to that were extremely boring in places that there wasn't really anything to do. So I did admittedly bring a PlayStation to play NHL on it. And so by having your laptop connected through one input and your PlayStation connected through another input, it allows you to just click the button on the side here and control between different switches, just like you would on a TV. So you don't have to like unplug and replug different things if you have your setup put together. So at the end of the day, as you can probably tell, I am very very excited about this product, and I've wanted to check out an external display for a while. I felt like it was the missing piece to my setup, and something that fits in the backpack at this weight and size is a no-brainer when it comes to trips moving forward. And I'm anticipated at the moment to probably do close to about 100 flights based on the current schedule, so I am relatively selective, and I often filter products out that just aren't useful or add additional weight that don't need to come on the trip. So all this comes in at a price package just over $200, and I think it is really solid. Our Zopa does have a lot of different options, whether it's smaller sizes, maybe lower resolutions. There's also models that don't have the high refresh rate, and for some people who don't game, you don't really need that, and you can save some money there. But this is definitely like their top model right here, and one that I've really enjoyed using. So if you guys want to go ahead and check it out for yourself, I've got a link down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.